Hello and welcome to CX Today. I'm Reese Fisher, Deputy Editor, and in today's session, we're going to be talking to Diabolicom about their approach to AI in the contact center space. For this discussion, I'm very fortunate to be joined by Jonathan Fourier, the Head of AI at Diabolicom. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing well, thanks.
Perfect. So I'm going to jump in here with our first question, and I just wanted your opinion really on why do you think customer experience is the lead-in or perhaps one of the lead-in markets for AI?
First, I would say that towards all markets, the sales is really related to the survival of companies as they bring their value and they get it from their customers. So one major failure point of success or for companies, it's really making sure that your customers are happy, that you can making sure that they don't leave you and bring a lot of value to the company. So I think that's why it's very one of the key markets for AI adoption. It's that companies are, in very aggressive strategies towards each other, and AI can be a, major differentiator for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Just as a follow-up to that, are there any areas in the contact center space where you think perhaps the AI is being misused or underutilized?
Yeah, I think one of the key areas where we can leverage a lot AI is quality monitoring for start. Of course, we have AI applied everywhere on the cycle, but quality monitoring is really a key point for improving satisfaction overall. Your agent's performance, and right now it's an area where you invest a lot of money to make 3% of your call analyzed because it's very time consuming and it's very difficult. So that's where AI can really accelerate the process and making sure that you have a good coverage of your interactions, making sure to also improve your agent skills and in the end your customer satisfaction.
So moving on to Diabolicom specifically, your quality monitoring is one of your flagship AI products. Could you tell us a little bit more about the solution, perhaps how it stands out from other tools in the space?
Yeah. So first, I would just describe a little bit how we decided to invest in such product. It's based on our customers' feedback. They were just telling us they had a very small amount of interactions covered by QM. So they analyze it manually, having 3% of interactions analyzed. And this way we lacked and our customers missed some area of improvements for our agents and overall view. And on top of that, it's very time consuming, and the way it's evaluated manually by supervisors, from the moment where you evaluate at 8 a.m. on a Monday or 5 p.m. on a Friday, that's completely different situation. So AI can resolve this, and that's why we decided to do this product. And we started to invest in it like 1.5 years ago. And the major advantage of doing so is like we started from the point of state-of-the-art AI at this moment. So we didn't have to adjust an existing product to new AI capabilities. We built it natively leveraging the state-of-the-art. So by the beginning, we had in view the final results and product and values that we want to bring, and we made best effort to adapt the state-of-the-art into these features. So that's why right now you can create evaluation grid leveraging AI all the way. So you don't even have to have a remaining manual criteria to evaluate, and you can evaluate 100% of your calls dynamically, getting results within a few minutes after the call is completed, and having a lot of insights about how the agents behaved, where it can improve in terms of skills, and then you can suggest to him some training program and stuff. So that's the first one about training program. And second one is, as I mentioned earlier, it's the modularity with which we conceive this product. We can push to it every interaction that you would like, whether the CCaaS solution that you use. Of course, it's better if you use native Diabolocom Engage CCaaS, but you can plug to it basically every software. And that's for the input, and for the output, it's the same way. You can add a trigger based on some evaluation criteria and the way it was evaluated. And if it's very, low score, you can trigger dynamic action without any manual interaction to make sure that these training programs are retargeted to the agent.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So, sticking with the quality monitoring solution, could you maybe tell us how it delivers ROI for users?
Yeah, okay. So first, it's about time, the time it requires to evaluate calls. We move from situation where it's very time consuming for even 5, 10, dozens of supervisors to evaluate calls, to hundreds of coverage with same or lower cost. So you save a lot of money here in terms of investments for supervisors, but it's also bringing new opportunities to improve the product life cycle, your customer life value, because you are able to detect very soon the behavior of your agents, and then trigger maybe some actions to save some customers. Because if a call went bad, and then you can detect it by AI dynamically, you can add a trigger to make sure that this customer will be called again. We can push it to an outbound campaign to make sure to call this customer again. So that brings a lot of value also in terms of area on this part.
Right. So, just finally here, we're going to touch on what is perhaps one of the more contentious issues in the contact center space, and that is how AI is being deployed alongside humans. How important is it for you at Diabolocom to take the human and agent experience into consideration when you're building solutions like the quality monitoring solution?
Yeah, for me, it's more a question about change management, because it won't be, just within 2 days and the product is deployed inside production. You can get rid of, human part of the process. It's more about bringing AI to existing workflows and then improve the existing workflows. And that's our point of view. And of course, there is products where you can, have the workflows established that are being changed. That's the way for virtual agents and other products. But that just free new time from agents to manage more complex tasks. So this is for the vision overall. Now for QM, we could think about, it's like a personal coach for agents. They get feedbacks every day about interactions. If they have issues, they can see it very clearly. It's a very transparent way to manage their performance, because not only you have vision about 100% of the interaction, while you had earlier like 3%. So if your agent didn't perform well, but he was sick, you couldn't see it before. Now, this 3% does not count into the overall view. So you can focus on real issues. And, when we mentioned bias earlier, it's also one of them. So we get rid of them using AI. And that's why it's very a way for agents to improve themselves, to feel also more confident, because they have, faster feedback with higher frequency. Maybe some details, because not only they have area of improvement that are suggested, but they know of which calls these come from. And they can get feedback about what could have been done better or in another way, what process could have been followed instead of the current one. That's all of bringing help to the agents every day.
Fantastic. I think that's a good place to end things. That was a really insightful chat, and thank you again for joining me today, Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Excellent. And I'd also like to thank our viewers for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe to our channel and keep an eye out on cxtoday.com for more stories like these. Until next time, thank you for watching.